2 people have already been arrested, accused of encouraging people to attend the vigil. "It's quite obvious it's political," said Chris Yeung, a journalist and commentator in Hong Kong, speaking about the police ban on the gathering. On June 4, 1989, protesters and onlookers in Beijing, many of them young students, were killed by Chinese troops instructed to violently put down a sustained democratic movement. Hundreds, if not thousands, were killed. Records remain incomplete and Beijing has never publicly confirmed a death toll. Any public mention of the massacre is forbidden in mainland China. Normally, thousands of people congregate in Hong Kong's Victoria Park after sunset on June 4, each holding a single candle to remember the massacre. But these are not normal times in Hong Kong. Thousands of police were deployed to thwart any vigil this year, cordoning off the park. Still, hundreds of people gathered near Victoria Park to remember the crackdown, according to the Associated Press. "It's a very dark day for trying to keep the memory alive," said Jeff Wasserstrom, a historian at the University of California, Irvine. A resurgence of the coronavirus in Taiwan has stymied organizing efforts there, so for the first time since the 1989 massacre, there will be no public gathering in the Chinese-speaking world to remember the crackdown. Beijing's grip on the former British colony has tightened markedly. In 2020, authorities enacted a sweeping national security law that scholars say effectively dismantles the policy of one country, two systems, which was meant to create a legal buffer between mainland China and Hong Kong. With the vigils being gone, it's one of the many signs that Hong Kong is becoming increasingly one country, one system, and that there are really fewer and fewer things you can do in Hong Kong that you cannot do in the mainland, said Wasserstrom. Last year, despite police refusing to allow the annual candlelight vigil, thousands of people showed up anyway. Police have since charged more than 20 pro-democracy activists with unlawful assembly. This year, people will be scared, and the government also want to scare people not to do it, said Yeung. This year, many of the territory's highest-profile democracy activists have been arrested or are in prison, including Lee Cheuk-yan, who was chair of the Hong Kong Alliance in support of Patriotic Democratic Movements in China. The vice chair of the alliance, Chow Hang-tung, one of the region's few remaining pro-democracy leaders who has not yet fled Hong Kong, was arrested Friday morning. Quieter commemorations in Hong Kong this June 4. Hong Kongers instead were encouraged to practice more private forms of resistance, such as lighting a solitary candle at home or walking around Victoria Park on their own. Individually, we can still find different sorts of ways.